Good morning. In this session, let us learn about recursive and recursively enumerable languages. Before getting into these languages, let us recollect about what are decidable problems and undecidable problems. So, any problem for which we can understand the problem and have some methodology to solve the problem and give the answer true or false, to decide to something to decide about something based on the factors and methodology. We say it as decidable problems. So any a Turing machine which we consider as a computing model can represent this methodology using an algorithm. So any problem which has got an algorithm which could be represented by a Turing machine and decide whether it is true or false. We call it as the decidable problem. So such languages are called as recursive languages. So if L is a recursive language, then there exists a Turing machine M which accepts the language and always halts. So this is diagrammatically represented as W being the input word given to the computing model M Turing machine. So it works on the methodology given to it, and if this W satisfies the conditions, then it accepts that word and halt at the final state. If W is not satisfying the conditions, then it rejects that word and halts at the non-accepting state. So this is given as input W given to the Turing machine M, which has got an algorithm to solve the problem. So input W is given to the Turing machine, and based on the algorithm, if the machine finds that W belongs to L, then it halts at the final accepting state. Final accepting state. Based on the algorithm, if it finds that W is not belonging to that language, then the machine halts at non-accepting state. Non-accepting state, rejecting that word. So anyhow, the machine halts. So this halting is very important in case of recursive languages. The machine is able to decide whether it belongs to the language or not. So such languages are said to be recursive languages. Machine recognizable language, we have one more thing as recursively enumerable language. If L is a recursively enumerable language, then there exists a Turing machine M that accepts L, which means if W belongs to the language, then the machine halts in the final accepting state. Halts in the accepting state. But if W doesn't belong to the language, then there are possibilities to reject by halting at non-accepting state, or it can even enter into infinite loop, unable to decide whether to accept or not. So these type of languages are said to be recursively enumerable languages. That is, when the word belongs to the language, the machine halts in the accepting state. But When the word doesn't belong to the language, the machine may not be able to decide the solution and it can enter into infinite loop. Such languages are called as recursively enumerable languages. Let's now see the closure properties of these two languages, recursive language and recursively enumerable languages. Based on the closure properties of complement union, we define the following theorems. If L is recursive, then its complement L bar is also recursive. If L is recursive, then its complement language L bar is also recursive. Then the union of two recursive languages, if you consider L1 and L2 to be two recursive languages, then L1 union L2 is also recursive. Similarly, union of two recursively enumerable languages is also recursively enumerable. The third property is that if the language L and its complement L bar are both recursively enumerable, then we can say that L and L bar is recursive. Let us see the proof for these three properties in the session continued. So the first theorem is recursive languages are closed with respect to complementation. That is, if L is a recursive language, its complement L bar, which can be represented as universal language minus L, sigma star minus L, is also recursive. So let us construct the Turing machine for the given condition. So it is given that L is recursive language. If L is recursive language, then there exists a Turing machine. There exists a Turing machine which can receive the input W and say yes or no as the decision. Now, using this machine, if we have to prove that L bar is also recursive, then we should construct a Turing machine for L bar. We should construct a Turing machine for L bar. Let us assume that the Turing machine for L bar is M dash. So based on this M, let us construct M dash in such a way that when M says yes, this M dash says no, which means it is accepting the words which are just opposite to W. So that is the basic idea for L bar language, complement language. So when M accepts W, M dash will say no. When M do not accept the word, then M dash will accept that language. So the words which are not accepted by M or otherwise the L bar words are accepted by this machine M dash. So let us see again. Let L be a recursive language. Let L be a recursive language and M be a Turing machine that halts on all inputs, either at yes condition or at no condition. Construct M dash using this M such that if M halts in the final state, on input W, M dash will halt in the non-accepting state. Further, if M halts in the non-accepting state, then M dash is made to halt in the accepting state. Since one of these events happens M dash is an algorithm. So if therefore it is evident that L of M dash is complement of L. It is accepting all the words apart from W. Therefore L of M dash is complement of L, hence the theorem is proved. The second property is union of two recursive languages. L1 union L2 is also recursive. So let us consider this two languages to be L1 and L2 be represented by machines with algorithms M1 and M2. So let M1 accept the language L1 and M2 accept the language L2. So we have to construct the union of two languages. So union of two languages is represented as L of M1 or L of M2. So the resultant language has both the contents from the language of M1 and from M2. The words which may be rejected in M1, if they are present in M2, they are to be accepted. Therefore, we can construct the Turing machine M dash in such a way that it simulates M1 first. So, if the word W belong to M1, M dash will also accept. So, M dash is also accepting. So, if W belongs, if this input W belongs to L1, then it is accepted by M dash also. That is, it belongs to L3 also. Now, if the word doesn't belong to the language, then that word is given to the second Turing machine. Now, M dash starts simulating this Turing machine. Now, if the word is accepted by M2, then again this is accepted by the resultant Turing machine M dash. And if M2 is also not accepting, then the word is not accepted by both M1 and M2. In such case, M dash also will reject that word. So, thus we are able to construct a Turing machine which can take the union of two languages. Thus, we say that the union of two languages is represented by the Turing machine M dash, hence it has got an algorithm. Therefore, it is also recursive language. Hence, L3 is equal to L1 union L2 is also recursive. The other part of the theorem is the recursive enumerable languages are closed with respect to union. That is, if the language L1 and L2 are recursively enumerable, then their union is also recursively enumerable. So here the condition given is two languages are recursively enumerable, which means recursively enumerable means we have the Turing machine M1 which accepts if the word belongs to the language, but we don't have a provision for no condition, because the machine may enter into the infinite loop. So if the word belongs to the language, if the word belongs to the language L1, then machine M1 will accept. If the word belongs to the language L2, then machine M2 will accept. So, let us construct the Turing machine M dash in such a way that M dash simulates both M1 and M2 on separate tapes. So, if M1 accepts, M dash also accepts. If M2 accepts, M dash also accepts. Therefore, whenever the word belongs to L1 or L2, then it is accepted by M dash. So this is represented in the following diagram. Hence, we say that we are able to construct a Turing machine M dash which accepts the language which is present either in L1 or in L2. But the machine, as the machines M1 and M2 may not halt for other inputs, then M dash also not halts for the words which are not present in L1 and L2. Hence, we say that L1 union L2 is also recursively enumerable. So the third part of theorem is if L and L bar are both recursively enumerable, which means L is recursively enumerable. The language L is recursively enumerable means we have got a Turing machine M1 which accepts the words belonging to the language L. L bar, that is its complementary language, is also recursively enumerable, means we have another Turing machine M2 which will accept this L bar. So we can say that M1 is the machine representing L, M2 is the machine representing L bar. So if W is belonging to L, then the machine M1 will accept. If W is not belonging to that language, then it is the complement of the language. So if W is not belonging to L, then M2 will accept. If W is not belonging to L, then it implies that W is belonging to L bar. So it is accepted by M2. So using this, we can construct a Turing machine M dash in such a way that M dash is constructed in such a way that if M1 accepts, M dash says yes, and if M2 accepts, M dash says no. So we are able to get yes and no options, and we are able to halt. So we are able to decide yes and no. When two answers are available, when both answers are available, then we say that the problem is decidable, which means it is recursive. So let me repeat again. If L is recursively enumerable and L bar is also recursively enumerable, then we say that L as well as L bar is recursive. L as well as L bar is recursive. Let M1 be the Turing machine which accepts the word belonging to the language. So M1 says yes if W belongs to L. Let M2 be the machine that represents the language L bar. Then in that case, this machine M2 will accept all the words which are complement of L. Therefore, if W is not belonging to L, then it is accepted by M2. So this is the given known condition. So when we have to prove for recursive language, we construct a Turing machine M dash in such a way that it says yes if M1 says yes, and it says no if M2 says yes, which means it is not accepting. So according to M dash, it is not, W is not accepted. It is halting at the non-accepting state. So we are able to say that yes and no conditions, which means there is an algorithm to decide yes and no. To for the word W, for the word W in the language. Therefore, we say that if L and L bar are both recursively enumerable, then L is recursive. And as per the theorem 1, we know that if L is recursive, its complement L bar is also recursive. Its complement L bar is also recursive. So from these theorems, the corollary is that we understand that if L and L bar are be the pair of complementary languages, then either both L and L bar are recursive. So if L is recursive, then L bar is also recursive. If L is recursively enumerable, L bar is also recursively enumerable. Or if L is not recursively enumerable, L bar is also not recursively enumerable. If one of L or L bar is recursively enumerable but not recursive, so if L is only recursively enumerable, then L bar can also be only recursively enumerable. It cannot be recursive. So hence the theorems, hence the properties of hence the closure properties are followed by recursive languages and recursively enumerable languages.